All right, everybody. Hey, it's Bridgette Dolgoff, wrong channel. 20 minutes with Bridgette. Um, and I always do a blog with some links and some extra ideas to go along with the video. This video will be recorded and put on Patreon. Um, and yeah, so away we go. Today we are going to be dealing with the third chakra, and in American society I call it the third chakra battle, um, because it's the battle of your two wills. And so we're going to talk about that, and why things seem to not work in your reality. And what I mean by that is that my last teacher, Bobado, who passed in June 2016, he had a few sayings. It is what it is. It will be what it's going to be. And the other one is that you can either do this the easy way or you can do this the hard way. So those were a couple of his favorite statements. So we're going to talk about the third chakra. So what we're going to do today is we're actually going to do kind of a third chakra neck kind of a stretchy. So that's what we're going to start off with. So we're just going to put our arms here kind of like parallel, and then we're going to turn right there at the rib cage, kind of where the third chakra is in the diaphragm. The diaphragm is, if you feel your ribs, go to the bottom of your ribs, then go across your stomach and poke in there. That is your diaphragm area. That's your third chakra area. It's the first diaphragm to collapse from post-traumatic stress disorder events, which could be an injury, could be a car accident, could be somebody grabbing you when you're little, abuse, all forms of abuse, war, military kind of stuff. So it has a lot to do with your digestion, your gallbladder, your liver is kind of on the other side, your adrenals. There are a lot of things that are going on in that area, and most people are stuck. That's where the area is stuck. And I think, just sometimes bucking up in life and having to do these things like keep a roof over your head and whatever else. And that's why, when you see people that they finally, surrender to the whole homeless front, they just sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep. And I love Ralph Ring because he calls it, they're not depressed, they're decompressing from, like the events of their life. And I always tell people, when they have like a certain type of illness, that there's this point where you have to surrender the will and meet it up in the divine will, right? The divine way. And so we'll talk more about that. But ceasing that battle. And the Hopis have a really great saying. A lot of Native people have these really great stories. The Hopi have a saying that says, when the battle inside stops, the battle outside of you will stop. But that doesn't mean like the world outside of you automatically changes. I think a lot of these people that are manifesty, new agey, they think that that's going to happen. It doesn't really happen. But how you deal with your path in the world, how you deal with the outside world, radically changes. And then you can make choices based on that. Okay, so back to a little bit of stretching. So we're kind of doing some rib cage stretching. So we're just going to lean over and we're going to breathe deep in the nose and out the nose. Try to lean over as much as you can. This is at the rib cage. So I'm not really moving the arms, right? I'm moving the rib cage. I'm pushing towards the wall with my rib cage in that third chakra area, right? And I'm taking in some deep breaths, relaxing my neck and jaw and my head. Push a little bit more. And release. Oh, it's feeling better already. Okay, same thing, rib cage. Oh, it feels so good. Taking a deep breath. Relax your head, neck, and jaw. Push a little bit more. And then come upright. So then we're going to do kind of a push forward with that third chakra area. Keys, both of your legs, your sit bones, and your kind of your butt, bottom butt need to be sitting on the chair when you do this, right? And you kind of, there's two keys. Then what you want to do is your lower back is going to be like this towards the front. And what you want to do is you want to push it back towards the wall. So you're sitting on your butt. You're going to push your lower back that way towards the wall. Then you're going to push out the third chakra, right? Because if you do it the other way, you're hyperextending your back. And this is why people have lower back problems, is because they have this too much of a bow in their lower back. And, you know, the other thing too is like I've tried to email, you know, I've been doing osteopathic work for almost 30 years on animals and people. And, you know, for a long time, I've sent emails to car companies, to other kinds of companies, because to educate them about changing their seats, because they have this, you know, push forward bow in the lower part of the seat, which the lower back needs to drop back. So the bubble should be up more towards the third chakra in the back, right? So that the lower back can round back into the seat, and then the rib cage gets a push right there when at the third chakra level. You know, seats in cars are terrible. Everything in our environment seems to damage us instead of making us better. And yeah, you just get sick of burned out trying to educate people on, you know, how to be more beneficial. So anyway, so that's what we're going to do. We're sitting on our both legs on our both of our buns, wiggling around. We're going to roll, push our lower back towards the wall, and then we're going to arch from the third chakra. And we're going to hold that. You might have to put your heels into the ground while you're sitting in your chair to make that happen, to get that roll in the lower back. And then all you have to do is arch back with the top part. So we're going to breathe. And then we're going to release everything. So you can kind of see like how much stress is in that third chakra area in the spine and the thoracic part of the spine. And that's where we're like battling. That's why how we're bucking up. We're using all those adrenals, and, you know, we're burning our adrenals out. We're burning our liver out. We're burning our gallbladder out, our digestive tract out. Yeah, we're just allowing that life force to be just sucked right the hell out of us, so that we can like keep floating, keep doing, instead of just stepping back and being. And will things kind of fall apart? They probably will. But you don't know how to put things back together. You don't know how to make something new if you can't let go. So the third chakra is where we really have to let go. And that is a super, super tough place, because, you know, we feel like it's up to me if I don't do it. And then, you know, you have people that have no will, right? That want to check out, or do a lot of drugs, or do a lot of these dreaming medicines and everything else to check out. And they don't want to apply any kind of action to their reality. So there's like two sides to this, right? So I've talked a little bit about chakras in the past. So go back and look at those chakra videos. They'll be on Patreon. And so we have the energy body that feeds the energy into the chakra, like the third chakra. Other chakras, the newer ones, are different. They work completely different. But the older chakras, the stationary or the fixed chakras, all use the energy body. And what they do is they pull energy from the energy body into one point of the body. So the chakras can be like a fuse box, electrical box, transformer. It's where it transforms this energy. And then where the energy goes in is where we have a diaphragm in our physical body that actually opens and closes. And it has to do that because almost every organ in our body, almost every system is a hydraulic pump. So if none of this is operating, you're not going to really have health. Spinal health is like probably the most important health you need to focus in on, because no other health will actually matter, right? Because you'll be inflammatory. And when you're inflammatory, your red cells no longer hold water, nutrient, oxygen, none of that stuff. So the most important health that you can have as an osteopath is spinal health. And that means your spine is flexible and pliable and open and aligned with both sides. So we have two brains. It's not one brain, a left and a right hemisphere. And then it comes down through our body, and we have a left and a right side that each side deals with, which is a whole other topic that I'll probably get to in the future. So what happens at the third chakra level, it's kind of like the bottom three that deal with this physical reality, right? So we feel like we're alone, we're in this world. And what happens with the third chakra, either the rib cage is slumped on one side or the other, it's raised on one side or the other. And so we're constantly going from insecurity, which is like old stuff. It's also, both of these have a lot to do with codependency. So on the blog, coe-llc.com, the blog for today, April 23rd, 2020, it goes back to a link that from a blog that I did on codependency a couple weeks ago. So you can check that out. And then it goes into egotist, right? So from insecurity to egotist, and it goes back and forth depending on how our world outside of us is operating. That's how we use our will. It's how we decide who we are, and that kind of a thing. So hold on one second. I think I have a dog situation. Girl, come on inside. Okay. Oh, sorry. You guys probably heard all that. Sorry if it was loud. It was a dog moment. A dog moment. All right. So we're going back and forth, right? So we wonder why our digestion or our liver, gallbladder, a lot of those other things. Plus, in the liver gallbladder area, we're dealing with sourness, bitterness, anger in the liver. Adrenals, get pushed. After 40, we don't hold extra nutrient in our systems anymore, so we don't deal with stress as good as we did before 40. Our adrenals specifically would hold extra vitamin C, so that way if we got charged or upset, emotional, out of balance, that the adrenals could, pull that vitamin C and kind of power in. Liver would have held extra like B12, so it could deal with high levels of stress. Doesn't do that after age 40. So you're dealing with a lot of things when you have stress, and you're dealing with the third chakra battle, insecurity, egotist, irritation, irritability, frustration, anger, then when you're in your upswing, so I call it the bipolar chakra. Then you're in your upswing, where you feel like secure in what you know and who you know. Maybe somebody gave you some pats on the back or something like that. Then you're like, happy for a while. So, and then you're in this constant chemical cycle. Your brain can produce more chemicals than are made on Earth. So people that run, they get to a point where their brain actually starts to produce a heroin-like chemical. So this is why people really get addicted to running, because they get that kind of a heroin hit. Or, with heavy working out. So, everything has to be in balance for us to thrive. And it seems like, where a lot of the collapsing in the structure and the organs and the systems come from has a lot to do with the root chakra, the second chakra, and the third chakra. And the third chakra is where a lot of the damage starts to happen. You could see that damage. So that's my will, right? I'm trying to decide things, try to figure things out, feeling from the outside world in. The first three chakras deal with the kind of the outside world and our feet on the earth kind of a thing. And so kind of like the first things that developed in us in the programming. So a lot of the third chakra stuff is very much codependency, has roots in a lot of the codependency issues. And like in the video I talked about before, we're codependent to things and people and areas and events and the past and the future and, you know, all kinds of things. We need to really go in there and take a look at those codependent issues. So how do you balance the third chakra? Well, you've got to go into the heart. So you've got to go into doing the work to bring the emotional body closer to you, right? And I talked about this work in my last class, Sunday, I think it was April 19th, readdressing. You can also find that blog and also that video on Patreon and the blog on my site, COE-LLC. And it's Carrying Stones and Digging Holes weekly online class, readdressing. And so we talk a lot about the different bodies and the emotional body and generating power in our systems, which has a lot to do with the foundations of the chakra systems and then how our physical body is going to operate. So it would be a good thing to go back and check out. But so in order to balance the third chakra out, you have to go to the bridge, which is, hold on, excuse me. You have to go to the bridge, which is the heart. And you're going to have to feel, you're going to have to start feeling instead of looking in the outside world and reacting to it through the programming, mind control, whatever else. I love this, you know, most people are fear, F-E-A-R, fuck everything and run. That's how you're living your life, especially in the third chakra. And where the heart needs to take you is to F-E-A-R, fear, false evidence appears real. Because you're like totally reacting to the outside world because you're emotionally out of control, because you're not in control of your emotions. And being in control of your emotions is not, you know, like sucking up. It's about actually feeling how these things make you feel, you know, how your past makes you feel, readdressing this stuff on your timeline. So go back to that video and also that blog. I also do personal appointments to help people through this work. So when we get to the heart, we start actually doing the heart space work. We hit the bridge called the heart. Then what happens is once we get through that emotional work, we can actually go up to the throat chakra. And the throat chakra is divine will, right? So we've got the first three chakras deal with the physical world that we're standing on, that we've been trained in, that are reactive. And then we get through the heart, we do the heart work, the bridge, and it takes us to the divine will. Now, like I said, things may not change in the outside world, but once we hook up with the divine will, we'll know what we're supposed to be doing. We will know where we're supposed to be going. We'll know how to pray. We'll know how to do a lot of these things with the throat chakra to activate with my will and divine will coordinated and change our functioning reality. So just a couple things from my teacher, Bhavado. It is what it is, and it's going to be what it's going to be. And he said the only way that you can change that is when it happens, shows up on your path, on your radar, and you can deal with it at that point. But thinking about it or reacting to it or trying to outsolve all kinds of issues before you have the issues, before they've even shown up, creating a story about your future, which is creating it in your future, you can't do it. You've got to let all that go. So you got to get out of codependency, right? I love in the book Codependency No More, where there's a link on the codependency link on the blog today. And there's a point in the book where she says, you just have to like come up with some kind of statement, right? And we'll talk more about this on the third chakra, which is coming up in the future, maybe next week. But you know, her statement was, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. And saying it out loud or in her head until she finally forgets about whatever she's activating, whatever she's thinking about, whether it's the past, whether it's stuff she has to do in the future, whether she's, you know, trying to out-solve somebody she knows or outperform them or some kind of competitive thinking, whatever it is. And so come up with your own kind of statement. Just to stop your energy flowing in those directions, and just, you know, tell yourself, I'll deal with it if and when it shows up on my path. In that moment, then I will confront it, I will deal with it, right? And maybe by then I'll even know how to properly deal with it instead of react to it. So the other thing is too, is that you can either do this the hard way or the easy way. And either way, you know, third chakra battle is the hard way, because, you know, you're just battling three sides of yourself, your past and future self, because you're not in the present moment. And, you know, your insecurities and your egotistic self. And meanwhile, you're not breathing, you know, because even in shamanism, this third chakra and second chakra area are powerhouses of where we lose the most vital power in our life essence. So it's a super important area to get stabilized and for longevity and long-term health, because this is where you're going to power a lot of energy once you get it right, or halt energy loss in your system. Okay, so that's it. And so just going to leave you with, you know, you got to get from your will over the bridge of the heart. I mean, you can go back and forth, right? It's a bridge, heart chakra. Get into that feeling place. If you need help, I do private appointments, online or in person. So let me know and can help you through some of your bridging. All right, that's it. I'm Bridgette Lynn-Dolgoff. Thanks for listening. 20 Minutes with Bridgette. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.